Hey, welcome to A Game for Your Thoughts. Today we're talking about Doom 3. 6. 3. So, Doom 3 is a reboot of the Doom series, and instead of being another fast-paced shooter, this is a little bit of a slower survival horror action game. And it follows a lone marine as he works his way across the Mars base to stop an invasion of demons from hell, led by a super obviously evil scientist guy, as they try to take over the base and then work their way to Mars. So it's up to you to stop the invasion and keep the guy from doing the bad thing. The story of Doom 3 is pretty minimal overall, and it does what a lot of other Doom games do, is the story kind of takes a back seat and acts as a vessel to get you from one place to the next. But there's also tons of cool lore that you can do, that if you really dig into it, you can learn a lot about what's happening and why it's happening, who all the people are that are involved in this, and just kind of the whole situation as a whole, if you're super into it. But if you're just there to kill demons, I mean, it's totally there for you, and you don't really have to worry about the story very much at all. This is cool because this game doesn't need some deep philosophical story that just is super emotional and all the characters are super investing and you just love everything about it. No, it just does it from point A to point B. It gets the job done. But if you go out of your way, there's cool environmental storytelling, tons of PDAs and audio logs and things like that to fill in the gaps and lead up to the events of the game if you're super into that. But if not, there's tons of cool action here to keep you occupied and a story to push things along. Most of the action of Doom 3 takes place outside of the cutscenes. There are very few cutscenes, and which ones are there are brief dialogue conversations between the other side characters, the other two side characters. It just really is not a whole lot of story going on. A lot of the action takes place in the gameplay, which is hard to complain about when the story isn't a main focus. They're not trying to shove some deep story down your throat. They just let the story do its thing and acts as a vessel for the gameplay, and that's really it. The gameplay of Doom 3 is a bit of a bumpy ride where a lot of your time is spent here. It's unfortunate that a lot of it kind of feels the same the entire time through. I did appreciate that this game took a bit of a different direction and tried something new, and it's cool. I respect that. It just didn't totally work for me personally. The biggest thing is it does a lot of what other horror games do, as it kind of gets too comfortable with itself. It does a lot of the same things over and over again. At first you jump when the imp jumps at you through the door, but then as you progress more through the game, and pretty much every time you open a door something jumps out at you, you kind of start to expect it and just kind of settle into this like mind off kind of thing, and you open a door and you're like, oh, there's the imp. Bam. And it's just like you kind of expect the horror to a certain degree, where this game's not like a total survival horror game where every bullet counts. It just kind of comes off that way, which is lame because then you just really settle into it and just kind of shut your brain off, and it just kind of becomes uninteresting as the game continues. This would be okay, as I feel like a lot of horror games kind of have that feel to it, where you kind of settle into the horror and get a little bit more comfortable with it, which is, I feel like, is not a good thing, but it's just what happens. And unfortunately, when you settle into it, this game just becomes slowly less fun as time goes on. I really did struggle playing through this game, and I feel like a lot of it becomes just kind of repetitive and mundane. A lot of the elements are used very repetitively throughout the game. There's really not a whole lot of times when it branches out and does something different. It's you walking around a hall, a demon jumps out as you open a door, you shoot it, you walk through more halls, you get to a door that's locked, so you have to backtrack a little bit, find a PDA that has the code to the door on it, you walk back to the door while fighting more demons, you get to the door, open the door, walk through more hallways, come across another door with a locked code, so you have to go find the other keypad, open up the keypad. It's just that same thing the entire time. I played this game for like 8 hours, and it was the same thing over and over and over and over and over. The unfortunate thing is it wasn't super terribly interesting. There's lots of weird sections that kind of just don't make sense or are really frustrating for absolutely no reason. One that always comes to mind is there was a part where I'm fighting these demons in this tight hallway, and there's like a lava pit underneath, and there's like these like metal grates that I'm walking on, and the metal grates will just like randomly fall, and it was super dumb and frustrating as I was trying to shoot demons and then the floor would fall out from under me and I'd die and I have to start over. It just was super lame. Things like that killed a lot of the pacing that was already slow anyways, and so it just kind of almost was like this game wanted to not have fun with itself. It just felt too safe and too comfortable for trying something new and different for the Doom series. I do have to point out there was one section that was really, really weird as you like come into this room and there's this big crazy teleporter and like, here's our new teleporting technology. I'm like, oh cool, this is how like you're gonna get to hell and back, and you're gonna have to like work your way through, like you work through the base and then you teleport down to hell and you go like through hell to another teleporter and you teleport back to a different part of the base. I thought it was going to be something cool like that. It's like this big cool cutscene where like the teleporter activates and it teleports you, and then there's like this Doctor Who-esque scene. It's like, whoa, this is wild. It looks like you're going down someone's esophagus or something like that. It looks like a cam footage of going down someone's throat, and it's like, whoa, this is wild. And then you like pop up in some different area and you're like, whoa, I must be like across the base, and then you like turn over and you're literally like right there from where you were before. It just didn't make any sense. It was like I did one, and it like took me, I was like down here, and then it took me upstairs, and it was like, so you're saying that the engineers of this place had to build a teleporter to get from this first floor to the second floor when they easily could have just built some stairs? It just it was weird. I don't know. I remember playing. I'm like, this seems weirdly convoluted for absolutely no reason. Presentation of this game is done very well. It's a very, very, very dark and gory game. There's tons of gore around the levels, and it's super dark. There's times where it's like pitch black and you can't see anything except for like the glowing eyes of the demons. You do have a flashlight, but it does have a limited time on it, and so it's kind of adds a little bit of tension as you're going through dark areas. It's like, I hope my flashlight doesn't die, and you can see the demons, and it's really spooky and cool. I did like that presentation and the gore and all that stuff. It was really cool. I did like the visual appeal of the game, as the demons do look different from their standard 1993 sprites, but you could tell what everything was. You're like, I know that's a cacodemon, but wow, that looks really weird and different. The graphics have hit kind of like a weird middle ground, where there's games from that era that look absolutely better from this, and there's games from this era that look worse than this. This one's just kind of like a safe middle ground, where it's like, it's not bad, but it's not great either. It's just like other games have aged better, which is fair. I think that was great. It still looked good, and it played good, and it was really nice. I played the PS4 version port that Bethesda came out with like a year or two ago. I don't even remember. But I played that version. I played it on the PlayStation 4, and it was cool and enjoyable. It ran very well. I didn't have any crashes or freezes or anything like that, and it just looked nice. It was enjoyable, and it was cool, and it was fun. In the end, though, when I said it was fun like 2 seconds ago, I don't necessarily mean that. That sounds terrible. But I really had to force myself through this game. Like, at the end, I was really crawling. I was like, come on, let's just get this over with. And then I finally finished it, and I was really glad to move on with my life, as I just spent the whole time thinking, I'm like, I really can't wait to play something else. This isn't terrible, but this isn't great. It's just okay, and it just didn't really feel like it respected my time, and which sounds far more critical than it really is. Like, I didn't hate this game. I've played worse games, but I've also played better games. This was just a good middle ground where I was like, yeah, that was okay. I feel like I had more fun eating an entire tub of ice cream after I finished the game than I did the entire 8 hours I spent playing the game. That's not true, but it would have been awesome if it was. So would I recommend Doom 3? Sure, I guess. I don't know. If you're interested in playing all the Doom games, and you play it just because it's different. If you like survival horror games, you're not going to be super into this, as it's not like total survival horror. It's got elements of survival horror, but it doesn't do them totally right, that it just doesn't feel like a survival horror game. And it's not an action shooter like Doom is. It's just kind of a weird blend of the two that just kind of like it just doesn't work as well as I think they wanted it to, and it might just be that it's just aged, and it's just there's better things out there. But I think overall, and when I think of other games that came out in 2004, it's like I can think of better games, but I can also think of worse games. It just is a good middle ground that it's like, it was alright. Hey, thank you so much for watching my video on Doom 3. Let me know down in the comments below, what did you think about Doom 3? And while you're down there, if you want to hit like, subscribe, and the bell to get notified every time I post a new video, that would be awesome. And if you want to see more of me, I am usually over on Twitch at twitch.tv/agameforyourthoughts. I used to be streaming all the time, but I'm really trying to get back into it. I've been crazy busy at work. It's been awesome for my work situation, but for my streaming situation, it's very non-existent. So I'm trying to get back into it, so please be patient with me, and I'd love to see you over there. But go check it out anyways, because it's cool, right? Don't forget to have an excellent day, and that the key to success is succeeding, and I will see you guys next time on A Game for Your Thoughts. Thanks for watching. See ya.